pharmacy. He questioned her about what had happened a few days ago, remarking on how she had ignored the unconscious man lying before her. "I don't know the details, but it seems like you're really angry with that man." Then, out of nowhere, he invited her on a date. He suggested they go to Seoul for drinks, confessing that he had been obsessed with her for a long time. Young Seok remained silent, letting him ramble on, knowing full well that he was severely disturbed. As he stepped outside, he violently attacked his younger sister for no apparent reason. Young Seok felt a pang of sorrow upon realizing that the girl he was abusing was none other than the owner of the pizza shop she frequently visited. That night, Young-se's assistant took the remaining photograph and sought out the woman in the picture, determined to uncover why Young-se and Choi-deok harbored such deep resentment toward each other. The woman explained that while Young-se was undeniably a medical genius, she was also a fool. Years ago, the Boston Hospital had a prestigious research scholarship, yet despite her exceptional talent, Young-se was not chosen. Furious, she confronted Choi-deok, demanding an explanation. "Why wasn't I the one chosen? Why him?" she had shouted, pointing toward a man named Gu-dong. At that moment, Gu-dong's mother had been present, and Young-se had not hesitated to lash out at both her and Choi-deok. Witnessing her insolence, Choi-deok had ordered her to apologize. But Young-se had stubbornly refused. After Gu-dong's mother left, Choi-deok, consumed by anger, had struck Young-se across the face and forbade her from performing surgeries. For nearly a year, she had been treated as though she were invisible, cast aside as punishment for her defiance. Then one day, while Choi-deok was away at a conference, the department head authorized Young-se to operate on a patient. However, before she could finish the surgery, Choi-deok unexpectedly returned and ordered her to stop immediately. Refusing to abandon her patient mid-operation, she had stood her ground, but Choi-deok had commanded the staff to forcibly remove her from the operating room. From that moment on, everything had only spiraled downward. The next day, Choi-deok once again sought out Young-se, pleading with her to perform his surgery. In exchange, he promised to send her to Boston, just as she had once dreamed. Young-se merely smirked. "Aren't you afraid I might sever a tiny nerve by mistake? I could render those precious hands of yours completely useless." Then her voice grew cold. "I despise you. I wish for you to die soon. I want you locked away in some lonely nursing home in the middle of nowhere where no one will care for you. I want you to spend your remaining days trapped in your memories, recalling how great you once were." Despite Young-se's taunts, Choi-deok remained unfazed. He trusted her completely, believing that no matter how much hatred she claimed to harbor, she would never compromise her professional ethics. More importantly, she still hadn't agreed to operate on him. That night, Young-se noticed the stalker lingering outside her house again. After he finally left, she stepped outside to inspect the area. There she found numerous beer cans and cigarette butts scattered around, clear signs of his presence. Just then, two local hunters returning from their trip stopped by and struck up a conversation with her. They had heard she was planning to expand her pharmacy and suggested she check out the pizza restaurant space, which was about to be put up for lease. "Her brother keeps beating her for money," one of them mentioned grimly. "She doesn't have a choice but to leave." Hearing this, Young-se immediately set out for the pizza restaurant with her assistant. She had already made up her mind tonight she would get rid of the stalker for good. This was her favorite restaurant. She couldn't let it shut down because of him. Sensing her intentions, her assistant scrambled for an excuse to back out. "I have an anatomy exam tomorrow. I really need to study," he insisted. Hearing this, Young-se finally agreed to return. However, her plan to eliminate that guy remained unchanged. The next morning, she arrived at the pizza restaurant early. The owner's face was covered in bruises, clear evidence of her brother's abuse. Young-se sat across from him, quietly observing. After leaving, she intentionally left her umbrella behind. Sure enough, not long after, the stalker appeared at her pharmacy, returning the umbrella. Taking the opportunity, he flirted with her once more, inviting her to Seoul for a drink. "Not today. Tomorrow I'll buy you a drink instead." The next day, before meeting the stalker, Young-se prepared a bottle of water laced with sleeping pills. She then headed to the meeting spot to pick him up. As they walked together, she casually offered him the spiked water. Oblivious to her true intentions, he drank it. After driving him around for a while, she took him back to her house. Feigning innocence, she even asked him to help her move a roll of plastic wrap, though he had no idea why. As drowsiness overtook him, she handed him a wet wipe to freshen up. However, the wipe had been soaked in chloroform. Within seconds, he collapsed unconscious. When the stalker woke up, he found himself bound tightly, his hands and feet secured. A cloth gag silenced any cries for help. Before he could process what was happening, Young-se appeared, her expression cold and unyielding. Without hesitation, she ended his life. That night, she called her assistant, summoning him home to clean up the crime scene while she disposed of the body. Though horrified, he had no choice but to comply. He meticulously scrubbed away every trace of blood, burned the stalker's clothes and documents, and ensured there was no evidence left behind. Meanwhile, the police unexpectedly arrived at Young-se's house. Sensing something suspicious, an officer knocked on the door seeking answers. At that moment, Young-se had just finished digging a deep hole, preparing to bury the body. Suddenly, she noticed a figure approaching in the darkness. Instinctively, she hid behind her car, gripping the shovel tightly. Determined to eliminate the unexpected witness, she lunged forward, ready to strike. But just as she raised her weapon, a bright flashlight beamed directly into her face. Blinded momentarily, she recoiled in shock. Standing before her was none other than Choi Deok. And with that, episode 2 of Hyper Knife came to a thrilling end. What happens next? Stay tuned for the upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.